Alrighty, so today's Friday. Do not have really a whole day of work tomorrow because, again, the benefits of the government come out very, very, very rarely. But when they come out, they can be good. Like the fact that I now have a 4-day weekend because President's Day in the Army is observed as a 4-day holiday. So go in for 2 hours of training with the guys in the morning and then train myself. And that's it. Same thing then on Monday, go and train the guys for 2 hours, train myself, boom, that's it. Makes that for a big old weekend up in Chapel Hill to go do some competition stuff, go eat some food, go have some fun, spend a couple days not doing homework at all. Because tomorrow night I have a fucking midterm I have to take at 7:30 p.m. Because for some reason the singular class, the only one in my entire online masters, has actual set times for the final. So midterm is then final. I have to take time off work because it's at 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. when we all have fucking jobs. Like, how the hell does that work? But it's whatever, I guess. So getting in to the nitty-gritty is, it should be fairly obvious that a perfect, a optimal, a whatever, like gold standard technique does not exist. Should be obvious. However, it is clearly not. You should have benchmarks, things you want to see in a lift. However, if you have a just one set thing, like I want everyone's lift to look like this. This is the perfect snatch. This is the epitome. Everyone should try to mimic this as perfect as possible. Let's say, I've heard a couple times, just because she is one of our athletes on our team, Jordan De La Cruz, looking at the actual biomechanical analysis, has the overall best snatch in all of USA weightlifting. All right, cool. She has a pretty good fucking snatch. But if we look at the fact that she is, I believe, 4'10", 4'11", somewhere in there. I haven't seen her in a while, so I can't remember, but she is not a large human. She then also competes in the 49 kilo weight class, so she is, again, a very small human. She has amazing technique, but can you honestly say that you think a 120 kilo super heavyweight male should try to have the exact same technique as a 49 kilo female? That doesn't make sense to me. And that shouldn't make sense to you either. Like, there should be big markers that we want to see hit in a lift. However, if we try to have everyone get and everyone perform the exact same technique, you don't allow for the individual variance that needs to happen and that is bound to happen. Someone that has different proportions is going to lift slightly differently, as they should. If you look at the Chinese national team, the vast majority of them have very long torsos, very short femurs. I, as someone who was not built to weightlift but still tried to anyway, have a very long femurs and a very short torso, the exact opposite of what makes the Chinese national team, or just the Chinese team in general, so good. So you cannot expect someone like me to try or to even have success with the same technique that the Chinese have, because I physically cannot get into those positions and maintain the same tension that they can, because my body is built the exact opposite of theirs. They have a very upright torso in all of their squats. I can't fucking get that. Some of them have very narrow pulling stances. My fucking long ass legs do not allow that to happen. There's just, again, a bunch of things along that line where you look at different bodies, they're going to perform things differently. So we cannot have one single ideal picture perfect, this is the gold standard snatch, everyone's snatch should look like this, because you don't take into account the individual. And as we've touched on in other videos, the individual is the sport. You should not tailor things to the sport, you should tailor things to the athlete to maximize their ability to be an athlete so that they can then excel in the sports. The sport is not the end goal, the athlete is the end goal. You need to tailor the training around the athlete, which is all coaching is. But for some reason, people just love to call themselves a coach, without actually doing the work of a coach. I said this again in a different video. Weightlifting's a pretty cushy fucking gig. It's a pretty cushy job. So like, if you're already like skidding past trying not to even do what it takes to be a coach, that's just fucking like low. Like, come on, like, it's a pretty easy job. If you think about it, it's a pretty cool job. I get to travel around the country to help people lift bigger weights. Like, it's a pretty fucking cool gig. So like, do it. Like, just stop cutting corners. But when we look at the weightlifting technique, again, so we can't say there is one singular gold standard. So what kind of things should we try to hit? What are the benchmarks of what we want to see in a good lift? I am actually about to rant on this on the fly. I did not really put this part into pen and paper, into thoughts yet. So I'm going to kind of riff right here, but that is kind of what this whole thing is about. One thing is going to be proximity of barbell in relation to the body. We need that bar to be close to the body, and we need the bar and body to become a singular bar-body unit. So clearly, if the bar gets too far away from us, gravity happens, longer levers happen, we can't really lift too much weight. So the bar needs to maintain a close proximity to the lifter. And then after the lifter extends, as they're pulling under, the bar and the body need to become one singular bar-body unit. What cannot happen is just a throw up, a drop under, and a race to the bottom. That is a two separate, there is the bar, there is the body. Every single lifter needs to become one with that barbell, become a singular mass with that barbell by using their actual upper body to position themselves. And almost saw a car just got ran off the road there because they're cutting the fucking lines. Good lord, dipshits. This is why you don't cut the fucking lines in a one lane. You need to actively put yourself in position underneath the barbell so that you do not get crashed on because you have become a one single unit. So one of the benchmarks that we need to hit is closeness of the bar to the body and becoming a singular bar body unit. Besides that, let's see. God, I really should have thought this through before I started going because I'm trying to think now of some good benchmarks here. Wow. We need to then, honestly, like, if we really look at it, like, we need another one there is we need to maintain a center of mass as best as we can over the middle of our foot, over the front of our heel area. Because, again, as we've touched on in many different videos, every single thing is going to come back to your start position and come back to your center of mass. If our knees are not coming back, well, we may be a little too far forward that we already started with our knees so far forward. If we are struggling with humping that barbell, we may have our center of mass too far backward, or that bar may be too far away from us just simply because we sat our hips back too much and then boom, we have to bang it in front of us. So we need to maintain a center of mass, which really goes back to controlling and having that singular bar body unit. A lot of this is going to come back to, can we become one with the barbell and can we effectively maneuver ourselves around the barbell versus trying to force the barbell into positions. At some point, the bar is going to have so much weight on it that you cannot just force it around. Like if you have a PVC pipe, you can put the bar wherever you want. You can make your technique look phenomenal because you can just not use technique and you can just use your muscles to put it where you want it. Same thing empty barbell. If you're strong, same thing with like 40, 50, 60 plus kilos. Once you get to a certain point, like 100 plus, 120 plus, whatever that weight may be, you can't bully around the barbell anymore. Like 150 kilos is a lot of fucking weight. At some point, you can't just force 150 to go where you want it. Like if you are pulling yourself under and it's way in front of you, at some point, you can't just pull 150 back to fix the trajectory. And at that point, if we are not a singular bar body unit, there's no fucking way we make that lift because we can't just fix it now. We have to maintain that center of mass. We have to have that singular force acting upon the barbell, that singular bar body unit moving in unison. The whole Olympic weightlifting in general needs to be a rhythm. It needs to be poetry in motion. It needs to be smooth. Smooth is strong, fast. Smooth is slow, slow is strong, strong is fast, something like fucking that. I forgot what the actual quote is, but you get the idea. We need to be smooth, we need to be under control, and that is going to be much more important than trying to move as fast as we can. So controlling the barbell and becoming one with the barbell are really going to be the, honestly, two biggest things that we need to see from an effective lifter. And if we look at, again, throw it back to Jordan, if we look at her lift, she does both of those things extremely well. She maintains her center of mass extremely well. She moves with that bar as a singular unit extremely well. Everything else kind of branches off from those two. If, let's say, maybe one of your things is I want to see all my lifters have to have this picture-perfect vertical triple extension. All right, well, as we have touched on again in a different video, triple extension is a byproduct. It is not the goal. Triple extension happens as a result of such propulsive forces through the ground. It then happens because of how much pressure we've applied. It happens as a result of being in the proper positions. So we can only have that picturesque, that perfect vertical triple extension as a result of maintaining that center of mass, as a result of getting that barbell to float because we have become one with that bar body unit. Let's say another thing that you think is like picture perfect, every single lift has to have this, is that perfect power position, that heels down, shoulders over the bar, picturesque, again, like USAW level 1, CrossFit level 1, pictures from the course of it has to hit this. All right, well, how do we get into that power position? How do we make sure we get that? Well, we have to have a good start position to start out with. Okay? How do we get a good start position? We have a good center of mass around that barbell. Okay, cool. Got it. Center of mass again. How do we then get up to that knee so that we can transition our knees under? Well, the bar has to stay in close proximity to us, and we have to let those knees come back, which means as our body's moving, we have to maintain that center of mass. All right, cool. Center of mass again. How do we get those knees back under and get into that power position without going on our toes? Well, that's a matter of center of mass. So everything is really going to go back to those two. So in that pull, and really like in the end phase when we're catching it as well, center of mass is going to be the main driver of nearly every single part of the lift breaking down. Center of mass is going to be king in all parts of that. When we get into the catch and then the stand up and all of that, center of mass, again, is still going to be big because wherever that barbell ends up is going to be a result of where we put it. So center of mass is still dictating where that barbell goes. However, now, even if we place it correctly, if we're just dropping under, if we're not actually becoming that singular unit, that barbell is going to crush us. It's going to spit us out. So center of mass is not going to matter as much because we need to become that singular unit so that now gravity is no longer acting on a barbell that is acting on us. Gravity is now acting on the singular entity that is going down as a one singular unit. If gravity is acting on two separate forces, we are then going to get crushed because that barbell is now falling at a greater rate, which means that barbell now weighs more than what it did coming off the ground. If we are one singular unit, we have fixated, we have become one with that barbell, gravity is no longer acting on the barbell, which is then going to act on us. It is acting on one thing as a whole, so that barbell does not gain weight due to acceleration. Really, that's what it comes down to. There is not one picture-perfect technique that needs to be hit. However, every athlete does need to learn how to maintain their center of mass, how to maintain that throughout the knee transition, throughout the movement. Every lifter then also needs to learn how to become one with the barbell and create that singular bar body unit during the fixation of the lift, during that punch under of the lift. Now, how the athlete expresses that is going to be completely different for every athlete. Taller athletes, smaller athletes, bigger athletes, lighter athletes, every single type of athlete is going to do that very, very differently. It's just a matter of really what that looks like. So those are the two big benchmarks. Let your athlete get there however they need to get there.